I am Samuel Fernie Rothschild. I am the Stability Program Manager at Path Home. So I oversee our eviction prevention program as well as our cash transfer pilot. Path Home works with families who are either currently experiencing homelessness or at risk of losing their housing. Path Home's mission is to help families move back into permanent housing and stay there long term. Oregon has this sort of alarming statistic. We have more unsheltered families per capita than anywhere else in our country, at a rate 14 times the national average. So hugely important. And I mean, housing is just like such a crucial component of life. It's like at the core of everything, basic needs. And I firmly believe like no one should be without their basic needs met. We kind of got to this flashpoint where our prevention program was starting to grow, starting to become more known. And I realized we had a bit of a equitable access problem. We had been doing first come, first serve for a number of years, and that presented a number of issues for us. The target demographic for prevention is for households who are experiencing some disruption to their typical routine that is threatening their housing stability. And the idea is to provide, with the funding we had at the time, one-time or short-term financial intervention and case management support to try to fill whatever gap, bridge whatever gap existed, and return people to stability. So the first come, first serve model, though, there were two things about it. One is that first come, first serve really meant that people who applied at the very beginning of the month were the people that would get assistance, and then folks who applied later in the month would not. That meant folks who were either not as familiar with the social service systems in our area, folks had some awareness and some experience of our systems, were always going to kind of have a leg up. And folks who were maybe not sure how bad their situation was yet, or were unfamiliar, or were just trying to figure it out on their own, might not start actually looking for assistance until they actually got that eviction notice. Sort of the main people we were trying to catch were not often able to access our services. The additional problem we had was that because we allow people to apply and submit their application materials in whatever way best works for them, anyone who was more technologically savvy and knew how to download an application and fill it out very quickly and submit it all electronically also had a leg up. So we had these kind of pain points in our application process that we wanted to try to address. We also had these two conflicting priorities with our prevention program. We want to provide meaningful support, and we want to help as many households as we can. And those two things kind of are sometimes in conflict with each other, but those are our two priorities. We started working with Propeller, and they did a pretty big deep dive in just picking my brain over a course of several meetings and extracting every morsel of information they could from me about how our program works. And kind of helped us prioritize what the biggest problems were and come up with some solutions for them, which ultimately led to us restructuring not just our application process, but the cadence with which we offer assistance throughout the month, and solved a lot of those problems. And that definitely set us up for success moving forward. Since then, we have grown significantly. We have additional funding sources we work with, so we have multiple resources, including that original one we had. But that sort of restructure has remained at the core of it and allowed us to be a lot more flexible. I don't think we would be where we are now had we not had help restructuring. They also did a lot of I guess I'd call it kind of hand-holding through some of my stresses and worries about some of those changes, and made it just much more easy to navigate and get through, having that support. As we look to grow our program and increase our impact, it's important that we stay trauma-informed, which is a core value of Path Home, culturally responsive, and maintain an equitable lens for services. And that's part of why working with the Uplift project was so important for our prevention program. It helped us create and maintain an equitable application and selection process for services.